I hope the Marner negotiations are not preventing the Leafs from doing stuff.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you next, because apparently that's the phone call. According, I believe it was Pierre LeBrun said, when people call the Leafs, I believe it was Pierre, forgive me if I'm misattributing this, every team is saying, the Leafs are saying we can't really do anything until we figure out Marner.
Just wrong. That's such a terrible way of thinking. And if any member of the Leafs organization hears this, you're nuts. Whether you have Mitch Marner or not, you have one of the worst right sides on defense in the sport. Go out and make some fucking phone calls and fix that. Colin Miller or whoever else you got to get. Whether or not you have Mitch Marner, you're going to need people to play on your right side. Whether or not you have Mitch Marner, you're going to have to fix that shite defense. Get on the phone and fix that. What do you do all day? That conversation that we have all the time about general managers. Surely you're not on the phone with Darren Ferris 12, 13, 14 hours a day. Get out there and call some other guys, get a defenseman, and hopefully he shoots right. Go out there and make other moves. It is June 27th. If you don't move your ass, they're going to be gone. And then all of a sudden, Nikita Zaitsev's going to look pretty good, and he's going to stick around again. And don't use that as a negotiation tactic, by the way, anymore. Oh, we could just keep him. We could just keep him. Listen, I know it worked for Marleau, and I think you got very lucky in that regard. And also, you gave up a first-round pick to do it. You come back with this defense, again, they're boned. And there's no point. You certainly can't argue to Mitch Marner, hey, come back because we got a contender with this core on D. You just can't.
No, you're right.
Do not let this stupid circus sideshow hold you up. Because that, by the way, is what they're hoping for. This is part of their strategy to put pressure on you. And if I don't sign this contract, if I don't cave into his demands, I can't go out and get the defender I want.
Go get him.
The Maple Leafs do not begin and end with Mitch Marner. Go out there and make some friggin' moves because it's drying up.
From July 2nd of 2018 onwards, are you disappointed in Kyle Dubas?
July 2nd, 2018.
So after
Tavares.
After Tavares.
No, see, you'd have to go to like July 5th because there was also Tyler Ennis, and I really like the Tyler Ennis deal.
You can include Tyler Ennis if you want.
Oh, okay. So,
Are you disappointed in the moves Kyle Dubas has made? Going back to your point that you think Carolina has been making these little moves that are really smart.
Well, let's go through the list. Connor
pull up
Carrick.
NHL GM tracker.
Yeah. Connor Carrick for shit. I want to say he was a 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Hall makes the team. Martin Marincin makes the team. Calvin Pickard for nothing. Curtis McElhaney for nothing. Garrett Sparks is the backup. There was no space for Levo, so they went out and got Carconi from the Canucks. Carconi at least seems to be a good bet, so that's good. I guess their hand was sort of forced. They went out and they got Jake Muzzin, which I think is wonderful. Wasn't cheap. Was not cheap. And what else? What else have they done? Trying to think of what else they've done.
I can't think of anything else. Nothing worth noting.
They didn't get a fourth-line center.
Re-signed Garrett Sparks.
Oh, Nick Patan for Per Lindholm. Yeah, the
Mikheyev,
bunch of
Mikheyev,
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look great. And here's the thing. When these next 7 days for Kyle Dubas, not only do they set up next year, but they're really going to set up how people really start to believe what he is. You can only coast on the Tavares stuff for so long, and I look at it and I go, okay, I think the principles that we attribute to Kyle Dubas and the ones that he strives for are ones that I go, man, really appreciate that, especially the social stuff. It was great to see him at Pride. It was great. Like, nobody's arguing that.
Yeah.
For sure.
On the hockey part, though.
For sure. Yeah. Standing in the rain, shooting a commercial shoot at midnight on a Friday night for sick. Yeah.
On the hockey part, though, right now, if what what we heard about Marner holding up everything is true, then I'm very concerned.
That's a huge mistake. That's an enormous mistake.
Like I would rather
what's going on.
I would rather let Marner sit for the entire year, get absolutely nothing for him, and have PK Subban on the roster.
I'd rather trade him. Like I'd rather. I seriously, you cannot go. You know what? Leafs without Mitch Marner still have a pretty kick-ass offense.
Yeah,
it's not nearly as good. Let's, no confusion there. It's not nearly as good.
They're not going to set records for goals scored.
Yeah.
But you might have a defenseman.
It's probably still a top half offense.
Yep, and you might probably, definitely
a top. You still
10.
have Matthews, Tavares, and Kadri actually as your 1, 2, 3 up the middle,
and Janssen and Kapanen and Hyman when he's back. And I mean, Hyman's not the most offensively gifted, but
you got a couple guys on Marlies who could fill in on the wing. Anyway, you could always find cheap guys on the wing, which is why I always rip into the Oilers.
You have the $10 million to go get the cheap guy for the wing.
You got a bunch
of expensive guy.
Or you get your defense.
Big old cap
right,
space.
or that.
It's the pressing need. I know I'm always like, listen, go with your strength. Go with what makes you special and make that stronger. Their defense is not good enough. It's not close to good enough. They need to make moves there. Don't let a winger, and I don't care how good that winger is, hold that up.
Well, if whatever it was that was going to be in the package for PK, like tell me now.
There's got to be another guy.
If Kyle Dubas was talking to you right now and he was being honest, he gave him truth serum.
All right, who's next?
You would have to say to him, you have to think that whatever it was that he was waiting to pull the trigger on, he should have just said, "Fuck it,
let's
go."
It was the salary, apparently.
It was the salary for the Preds, but apparently, as Steve kind of alluded to, David Poile was waiting on another team to get back to him, and apparently the team that was supposed to get back to him was the Leafs. And he waited all afternoon, and he said, "Nope, we're not going to wait anymore."
I think, wasn't it the Leafs were going to get back to him about the salary retention, and then he would have done it, right? Whatever the package was, plus taking on PK's salary.
I don't know if it was that, because there's no way the Leafs could have. The Preds were willing to retain up to $3 million.
Okay.
I got to imagine that was the whole thing. My assumption is the Leafs would have had to give up way more than the Devils did. But the Devils retained all $9 million, which made it a very cheap deal for them. If the Leafs get the Preds to retain $3 million of that, all of a sudden you're giving up what? Like, is Kadri part of that deal? Is
I would have done that.
So, but we'll never know.
Yeah,
will we? Like we kept hearing at the deadline, oh, they're in on. God knows, it's this big name. It could be Ekblad. It could be Doughty.
Nothing.
It could be this. Dude, you need something. You need someone. If they keep Zaitsev and re-sign Hainsey, I might blow a gasket. Like, I might lose my mind.
Well, that seems like the most likely outcome right now.
I still have the benefit of the doubt that both guys are moving on. Hainsey they might bring back in a role that is a little bit more understandable.
If I'm the GM, I go, no. Because what Babcock will do is he'll say, yeah, I could use that guy, but I've also got Hainsey.
Well, I've seen some people...
Take his toys away.
I've seen some people go, why are we even talking about bringing back Reimer or Phaneuf? Like, for the love of God, close the book on those chapters.
Yes.
Close the book on the Hainsey chapter! I read it. It was short. It always ends in April.
In Boston.
Yeah, in Boston. In TD Garden.
And
in Game 7.
Don't worry, runs on the ice.
Yeah. I don't know how long. Yeah. Don't worry. Penalty kill runs on the ice. And also, it's okay, though. He looks fast compared to the guy with no friggin' ACL. I don't know how long next year's book is. All I know is the one that we've read for the last 2 years ends in April. I'm tired of it. Who is it? Who's it going to be? Damon Severson's name is apparently off. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, New Jersey likes him again because they got smart.
He's on a decent deal, and his role's going to be reduced. He's going to be playing under the tutelage of PK Subban.
It's almost like Nikita Zaitsev's role should have never been as big as it was.
It's almost like when you get really good players up top, it takes pressure off the bottom.
That's why
Welcome for your roster stock.
That's why I was thinking Kyle Turris would fit in great with the Leafs because he plays their style and he could play a reduced role.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. They got to go out there and what is it? Like what I kept expecting and what I've said for a while now is, okay, Tavares is the big fish for sure. Anytime you have a chance to go out there and get John Tavares, you do it.
Yeah.
Always. Of course. But what I expected out of, I guess, this regime, or whatever you want to call it.
Regime.
What I expected out of this regime was that they were going to go out and they were going to get these guys for very cheap, and we were all going to go, who the hell are these guys? And like 4 guys who make charts and know how to code go, actually, I did some research on this guy, and he's actually quite good and undervalued. And then he comes in, and he scores 15, 20 goals next year, and we go, oh, holy shit, he's a genius.
And you're paying him peanuts, and it makes your roster look great.
Yes, because he's smarter than the rest. And I know this segment started with, can you believe people are actually asking this? I don't. I think it's a little bit ridiculous.
It might be a little early, but it's not unwarranted.
I would not go so far to say he's a bad negotiator when it comes to contracts.
No,
but shitter get off the pot. What's the move, man? What's the move? I'm dying to find out, because if July 2nd comes, they haven't made a trade and they haven't signed anyone decent on the back end, I'm going to flip.
The Leafs have already reached out to Anton Strawman, and they say the asking price is too high.
Okay, so he's out. Damon Severson's out.
And
Colin Miller, what's the word? Miller, what's the word? Let's go.
I'm looking
Who's next? Who's next?
Eventually, you keep going down that list, and you get to Nikita Zaitsev. And then you're looking at that.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Who's expendable? Aaron Ekblad, what's it going to take? Like, get moving, man. Get moving. You have a front office bigger than anybody else's. Who's on the phone? Who wants what? What's going on? You know, like, after a while, there's too many people at the party. Just order a freaking pizza. Stop asking everyone what their favorite toppings are.
Where's the pizza from?
Panago, obviously.
Thank you.
Like, how... You do what you do at every house party. Hey, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? We want a meat lovers and we want a veggie. That's what I would... Just make the call. Make the executive decision. Even if it's not all that popular.